10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now live.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:03. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with a very sleepy Peter Coles. Good morning. Chairman of the board, Pete Coles.
Sure.
So, Planning Commission, that
Planning
was the one
board,
that went. Planning board.
Went from, I had a cultural commission from 5 to 6, or 6 to 7.
Okay.
And then planning board started at 7 and didn't conclude until 1 minute before midnight.
That is amazing. I mean, that's
amazing.
amazing.
There's some big stuff going on.
Yeah.
There's an Aldi's that wants to come in down on East Main Street.
Yep.
There is a cannabis, which started as a retail grow. They got denied the retail. Now it's just a grow up on by the airbase. There was a proposed retail space at 420 Union Street, so where Union Street meets Route 20.
Yep.
Where Richard's Grinders is.
Yeah.
That space on the end there.
Yes.
They want to put some kind of retail restaurant, quick serve restaurant there.
Okay.
There was, what was the other one? Oh, and then the whole Bullducks, the jug handle. It looks like Friendly's is going to go out up at the Turnpike.
Up at the Pike, yeah.
And they're going to tear that down and make it a Pride station there. Or they want to.
Yes.
These are
right,
things
right,
all
right.
on the drawing board type
Yep.
of thing. So
Yep.
big projects coming. If they all get approved, some of them got approved last night. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, a lot of stuff, and everybody was extremely tired at the end of the night.
Well, you know
Poor
what?
Jay Vinsky, he's got to coordinate all that. He's kind of the city planner. So,
Yep, exactly.
thank God the college is back in session. So, Jenna from the college is going to start taking over some of those meetings for me because I have 11 meetings this week.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot going on.
Everything's back in full swing, and the business of government does not stop due
No,
to
it
a
doesn't.
pandemic.
No, it doesn't. It sure doesn't. So, yeah. Yeah.
I'm just tired.
I guess. I guess you are. My thought is, if anybody wants to know anything that's happening in the city, Pete Coles is your guy. Because he's been sitting through all of these meetings.
Yeah.
I mean, there are just so many. The boards are so varied too. I mean, you have the fire commission and the police commission that
was
are
Monday.
doing,
Fire commission, police commission were Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm not sorry to give those up. Some of those meetings.
Yep.
So the college will, by contract, has to take over a planning board, school committee, and city council. Now, they were paying me as a contractor to cover those meetings to cover their contract, but still, sleep is sleep.
Yeah, sleep is necessary, Pete. Well,
after yesterday was a crazy day. We had a meltdown with the switch, so none of our shows went out yesterday.
You know what? I was wondering because I turned on Bob's and I couldn't get it, and I didn't. I just turned it on the radio though. I didn't go to my computer or anything.
No,
so
it was everything.
A lot of time, so I said okay.
By about 6:20, I knew we were in big trouble, and then I had to literally reset the computer switch, which controls everything here, back to the factory settings.
Oh dear. Okay.
By 6:30, and I had done backups. Thank God my old boss really beat into my head that backups.
Yeah.
So I had the backup, but I didn't know what was wrong, and I was seeing multiple failures, and it was like, maybe it's just the switch.
It's we have Karen and I've reached this conclusion, and my staff over the weekend. It's like when technology works, it's so phenomenal. It can really help you so much, but when it goes. Like Friday afternoon at 3:00 when my brand new laptop suddenly went black and I had nothing at all. On a Friday at 3, and I'm calling the tech center because, of course, I couldn't email the tech center because no computer, nothing, everything black, screen black, laptop black, everything. So not sure what happened, but it's literally paralyzing. I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I have so much to do, and I, of course, planned to come in over the weekend, and I had stuff to do over the weekend.
You actually were forced to have a weekend off.
No, I wasn't, because Rick Starr came to my rescue, and God bless him, because he could have deferred and said, you know what, yep, it's late on Friday,
no, Rick's a good guy.
But he came down, he couldn't figure it out, ended up taking the laptop back up to the tech center, called me 45 minutes later, and brought it back down at 4:45 on Friday. Ready to go, ready to rock and roll. So that's a big fat shout out to Rick Stark from the Tech Center and all the Tech Center people. I know yesterday I think was National IT Day or something like that. And
the funny thing is we were supposed to have the mayor on Kenny's show.
Yes.
And Lenore on Kenny's show.
Yeah, I heard that.
And we had to cancel everything because I didn't know when I was going to get it restored, and I didn't want the mayor.
Yes.
I don't want the mayor to waste an hour here
right.
twiddling his thumbs when he could be doing other things.
Okay, well, I will. And I think part of the reason Lenore was going to be on was because it was National IT Day.
Yes, exactly.
And, just on behalf of my department, I have told anyone from the IT department, if you want an office, I will find you space in the new senior center. I would love to have a tech person right there.
Right. And well, the thing is I don't try to, because I was part of the department before and I'm kind of isolated from the rest of the city network, that I'm my own support guy. So I had to figure that out on my own. I couldn't call them for help. They have enough to do.
Yeah. Oh,
and I was like, I'll figure it out. If I can't figure it out, I would have called for help. But I eventually got to figure it out. And, there's only one thing that's not working is our connection to the radio station. So I'm back to the old way of doing it, and it's working for now. Cross your fingers.
You know what? We were laughing about this though, Pete, because tech people in general, this is my staff's observation. Like they don't really, and we were joking around with Jeremy when he came to yesterday to kind of see what the heck happened. But we were talking about the fact that you guys don't really lose your cool and.
I was grumpy yesterday.
Well, but I mean, grumpy, we panic. Like we're, like you can tell our voices start to shriek and screech and all that other good stuff. Jeremy came over yesterday and we were able to kind of reconstruct what had happened, which was actually great because it's like when you take your car to the mechanic and it doesn't do whatever the noise was or whatever. Well, in this case, I said to Jeremy, I want you to do what I did and see what happens. Well, the same thing happened. The whole thing crashed, right? So there's Jeremy, and now I'm not panicking because I know it's fixable because Rick was able to, tell me what he had done. But Jeremy's like, that's interesting. Now, why did that do that? And I mean,
I can see Jeremy saying that.
Oh yeah, that's like the tech way of, it's like.
Oh, but that compounded my problems. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a different vehicle out there that I came in today.
I didn't think that was yours, but I said, but the light's on, so Pete's here.
Yeah.
So what? Okay.
So over the weekend, my car decided it wanted to stop working properly, and my shifter, I couldn't get it out of park. Except for the manual override, which manual release.
Yeah.
And I got it started Saturday morning. We were out and about, and then I came home, got it to work. And then at work, it wouldn't shift out of squat.
Yep.
I got it out of park and got it started, and then it wouldn't go into gear. And then I had to have towed at 11:30 p.m. in Mount Holyoke over to my mechanic with the key still in it because you couldn't get it out.
Yeah.
I proceeded to sleep in Mount Holyoke because I had a shift the next morning there. And then I worked 3 to 11 and then 11 to 7 the next or 7 to 3 the next morning.
Yep.
And got a ride home.
Oh, my God.
And then got a rental car.
Do they know what's going on with your car?
Yes, the entire shifter linkage, the whole unit, the shifter unit is shot. But in the meantime, I was tired and I was grumpy, and I applied for a used car loan, and it looks like I got approved for Enterprise used cars, Enterprise Rent-A-Car used cars, and it looks like I'm buying a new vehicle.
Okay.
And I think I already have a buyer for the old one, so I'm going to get that fixed.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be
awesome.
a transmission that was shot, and it's
Yeah.
not. So
Yeah.
they're still willing to
How
buy
many
it.
miles do you have on it?
170.
Wow. That's
Yes.
a lot of mileage.
Right, but the
Yeah.
Hyundais usually last 250 if you keep them up.
Wow.
So I have a buyer that's a first-time car buyer. She's thrilled.
Good.
It happens to be my girlfriend's daughter, and
Great.
she's thrilled about it. So
Good.
to have a reliable
Yeah.
vehicle. So
Perfect.
I have a good buyer. I have a way to buy a new car, and
Okay.
off we go.
There you go.
But it was just like when the switch went Tuesday, I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know. You know what, Pete? I get it. It's like you want to look around.
What's
and
the
say,
third thing?
Where is Alan Funt with the camera? That's the expression in our house. It's like, where's Alan Funt
Candid
with
camera?
the camera? Remember Candid Camera? It's
Yeah.
like, where's Alan Funt with the camera? Because this somebody has to be filming this. This has to be a gag that this is not reality.
So now I've had 2 major disasters. I'm waiting for the third. Knock on wood.
All right.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Well, Pete, you need to get some sleep. I think that's
Well, that's not
important.
gonna happen today because I
No.
have.
I know we have the debate tonight, right?
Right, a debate tonight, and then
So-
I also have simultaneously 3 other meetings going on.
Okay, then. How does that work?
Well, they'll be doing them. I'll be doing them in the other room, running back and forth, just telling them I'm not monitoring this meeting, so you guys are gonna have to do.
Yeah. Do what you do.
Yeah?
What's going on tonight? Wow. That's a lot
Oh,
of meetings. You don't
wait.
even remember.
I'd have to look
Yeah.
on the calendar.
Yeah.
I think tonight. What is tonight? I don't know. Hold on. Let's see on the old
'Cause I'm trying to
the old
think.
calendar
It's
thingy.
Wednesday.
Board of Assessors, off-street parking, community development, community
CDBG.
development block grant, and a flood control meeting.
I wonder what the CDBG is.
Consolidated annual performance and valuation report.
Okay, then.
So I actually have 4 meetings tonight, starting at 5:00.
And so, can you, taking aside like your lack of sleep, but can you film all 4? How do you do that? You can film all those at
So
the
they're
4
all
at the same time?
simultaneous, and the debate will be on Channel 15.
Right.
I couldn't even publish a schedule for this because there's so
Too
many
crazy.
meetings. The debate will be on Channel 15 and WestfieldTV.org.
Okay, and on that one, Pete, only because I will not be in Westfield at the time. So can I live stream that from
Yeah,
my computer at home?
WestfieldTV.org,
Yeah,
yep.
okay.
And then the meetings will be on Channel 12 and our YouTube channel. I'll
Okay.
move those over to the YouTube channel.
Okay.
And that's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I got enough stuff going on.
There it is.
I may actually have
smokes.
Kenny direct the shows here,
Mm-hmm.
the debate, and I may do the all the meetings because you
Yeah.
really need somebody to monitor that,
Yep.
and it's just so much going on.
There's a lot going. Yeah, there is a lot. People think everything stopped because of the pandemic.
I
but
might have Thursday off because the
Life
Westfield
brings
State
on.
is going to take over that meeting. So
Good. That would be good.
if I can get through
Just,
that far, I'm good to go.
I know. Well,
Busy,
today's,
busy.
Yeah, today's Wednesday, so who knows,
Yeah,
right?
and they haven't scheduled any meetings on me on Friday lately.
Yeah. Did you get my memo? Because we had the COA board meeting on Monday at 1.
Yeah, I think I
Mine
already
is a nice,
sent you a reply for
oh,
that
good. Okay, all right.
with the
I just-
meeting information.
Oh, perfect. Thank
As
you.
stuff pops up in the calendar, I've been trying to fill it right away.
Yeah.
And I've gone out a month, and I think I've filled just about everything for the next month.
Okay.
So do you get that calendar in your calendars?
You know what? I have to check. I'll
It's
have to look.
conference
Pete.
broadcast.
Okay, conference broadcast.
Yeah, you
Okay.
should get it. If
Okay.
not, you get to add it in your files when you go into the mail.citywestfield.org.
Well, I'm
I
getting.
can show you how to do it.
Yeah, because new computer. Well, for me, my desktop computer kind of, hit the dust, and at the same time, we had ordered the new laptop.
Sure,
so
yeah.
temporarily,
Press
we're
it into service.
using the laptop as my desktop.
Yeah.
But I said to Jeremy, we need to order me a new desktop because I want the laptop for the reason that I got it through the CARES Act, which is for Zoom meetings and trainings for the whole staff, so we can
Right, so
pass
you
it
can rotate it
around.
around, yeah.
But right now, we can't pass it around because it's the only computer I've got to work off of. So.
Sure.
So hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm hoping because I know so much tech stuff is on back order because everybody in the world is using
Mm-hmm.
it. So I'm kind of hoping with a desktop that Lenora will be able to get it for me.
Hey, Danny Nason, if you're listening, can you message me if you can hear me? I just want to make sure we're going on over WSKB. I haven't done it this way in a while.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Yeah, we'll see what we have going, Pete. Maybe it's just you and me talking to each other.
Oh, no, we're on Channel 15. I know
there
that.
you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know
And
that for
yeah,
sure.
That's how most of my seniors watch
Yeah.
us.
And in
All right.
Southwick, too.
So we haven't done famous birthdays yet, but we'll play this song and then we'll do some birthdays. We'll talk about why we're playing this song. This is called "You Didn't Have to Be So Nice" by the Lovin' Spoonful.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:20. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. At least we hope you are.
No, we are.
Oh,
we
we are.
confirmed it.
Oh, perfect. Okay,
Danny
great.
said we're loud and clear.
Thanks, Danny. And WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and in the that other voice you hear is our we like to refer to him as the chairman of the board, our producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning. We were on the road yesterday too. Bobby G and Company taped a show at the Brimfield Winery.
Really?
Yes.
How did that go?
That went very well.
Yeah, I didn't know that Brimfield had a winery.
It's only a year old. It's right in the middle of
okay.
It's right in the heart of the mart, as they say. It's where
Right.
the Red Barn where it all started.
Yep, right near the.
That's right.
right
It's a
near where the
beautiful
flea
wine
market
garden
is.
now.
Yeah. Wow. Well, good. That's kind of cool. Did you guys get to sample? While
Yes,
you were
we
there?
did.
Did
Yes.
you?
Yes.
Of course.
And we
Why
brought
else
our
do that?
resident sommelier with us, Ken Stomsky. He was great. He helped me set up, which is great because I needed to be down and back because it's a 3-hour show and I need to be back for 6 o'clock for a meeting.
Yeah,
so
for all those meetings.
we started taping at 1:40 and we were done by 4:40, and then I was back here
Wow.
like a shot.
Okay, I just have to ask, like 3 hours worth of winery. Like, what did you do?
So
there
so
for
Bobby
that's
does
a
his
long
normal show. Bobby does. He's almost like the Baxter O'Brien show, or like a top 40, like Craig and Company, one of those
Okay,
shows.
yeah.
Where he does all those top 40 bits, and then kind of like the first hour is that, and then we started getting into the wines, and it really was. We cut a lot of the music out of the show
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they
yeah.
was talking so much, and there was a lot of great discussion going
Well,
on. So.
and I think when people start talking about what they do,
right.
We've
said this for years.
Oh my gosh, Pete! We've done the show now for over 5 years, and I remember when I first started, and people would say to me, "Oh my God, what am I going to talk about for an hour?" And I said, "Well, first of all, there are some breaks in there, but when you talk about what you do, good Lord, ask me about the older adults. I could talk to you for about 6 hours
Right.
straight without stopping, without even
Right,
taking
yeah.
a breath." And I think most people. So if you're passionate about what you do, and you have a wine lover who is running a winery, I mean,
She was great, and then
yeah.
Kenny turns out to be quite the connoisseur because he really knew his
Really?
stuff. Yeah,
Really? Well, that's cool. And you know what, too? I find that people who are interested, when the interviewer is interested in the topic, it just, again, people will just begin to really expand on what their knowledge is.
Yeah,
so
both
that's fun.
both Bobby and Angela Grout were both very good with that. So
Now, when will that show be aired, Pete?
that's going to be airing Thursday. So that means I got to edit it at sometime today.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know. It doesn't just happen, folks. We
Still
like
got
to
to add
mention
the senior center stuff.
I know. It has, so we did. So we've done all the programming. We have everything set for October, which is great because I've got the.
We gave a lot of
October
great, a lot of great tips to the line dancers.
I understand. Yep.
Yes, there was a lot of they were rusty, and we told them if you're working together, you got to rehearse and build in breaks and things. So
Yep.
between Kenny and I, we gave him a lot of good tips.
I got an email.
I Kenny had to finish that because I had to go to a fire commission meeting.
Okay.
Kenny's been great. I'm sorry
Yeah.
that he's unemployed, but it's a great boon for me, and I'd love to hire him if I could.
I know. I'm trying to.
I'll put it out there. I would like to hire him part-time or full-time or
Yeah.
whatever because I need the help.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't think it's going to change after this pandemic goes away.
No, I don't think so either because now we're all used to using Channel 15.
I think the demand is there now. Yes.
And you know what, Pete? I think what's interesting about the pandemic is that we have, we were talking about this with the staff. And there are certain changes that we've made. There are certain things that we're doing now that we didn't do before. And, already my staff is saying, well, we don't want to go back to some of this stuff. We like doing it this way, and it makes sense to continue to do this. So, of course, when we go back, we'll be adding what we used to do.
Sure.
But, but there will definitely be some changes. And one of the things that, the feedback that we're getting is the seniors really love having all this programming on Channel 15. And I don't think for a second that when we reopen the doors that, people are going to say, well, I don't have to go and do exercises at the senior center anymore because I can just do them at home. But I think that there will be some people who will continue to do them at home because that's really their only alternative. You know, I mean, either if they don't drive or they're recovering from surgery or, whatever. So, yeah, I think there are a lot of things. So I agree with you. I think if we can get Kenny on board, that would be awesome. And,
Yeah, I know there's a hiring process and all that
Yep.
if we created a position, but I'd like to create a position to do that.
Well, I would certainly say, Pete, now is the time to start really plugging, putting that bug in the ear of the people who can listen, because, we were talking the other day at the center about just the fact that technology now, because of this pandemic, I mean, Jeremy and I were talking about it yesterday too, I mean, people are relying more and more on technology. So we need good tech people who know what they're doing and, who can, step up to the plate. So, and we certainly know Kenny certainly has, I look at it and say he's got a track record, folks. It's not like you don't know him. It's not like you don't know his work.
Right.
So it's a no-brainer.
Right.
Well, just figure it out.
Yep.
So good. All right, let's do a few birthdays so I can tell you why we played the last song and why we're going to play the next song in just a few minutes. So today is September 16th. It is the birthday of Joe Butler, musician and actor. He was born this day in 1941, Long Island, New York. He is 79 years old today. Joe Butler was an original member of the pop rock band The Lovin' Spoonful, founded by John Sebastian and Zal Yanofsky in 1964. He was given the lead vocals on the songs You Baby, Full Measure, Never Going Back, and Me About You while he was with The Lovin' Spoonful. He later earned a role filling in for the musical production of Hair. Butler currently plays with several musical ensembles. He continues to perform with the Lovin' Spoonful, playing the auto harp, with his primary role as lead vocalist. He also plays the guitar and percussion instruments. So happy 79th birthday to Joe Butler. Another musician born today was Bernie Calvert, or is Bernie Calvert. He was born September 16th, 1942, a year later in England. He's 78 years old today. Bernie Calvert worked with several rock and roll groups during the early 1960s. Originally a pianist, Calvert switched to the bass. Unable to advance his musical career, Calvert took a factory job until he was asked to substitute for the Hollies' then bassist Eric Haydock in a tour of Scandinavia. After the tour, Calvert played on an Everly's Brother album and on the Hollies' single Bus Stop before returning to his factory job. He was invited to join the Hollies permanently in 1966 and played with the group until 1981. The Hollies were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2010. So, if you wonder what these musicians do, like, when they're not really playing music, even though they want to, or they're not getting paid for it, they're
waiting tables.
They're waiting tables, and in this case, they're working in a factory.
Sure.
So happy birthday to Bernie Calvert. And of course, we're going to have to listen to a song by the Hollies. It is also, we had a lot of singers born on this day, so a lot of action going on 9 months ago, but it is also the birthday of David Bellamy. He was born in 1950 in Darby, Florida. He's 70 years old today. Howard and David Bellamy were born and raised in Darby, Florida. Best known for the easy-rolling 70s Southern rock soft classic Let Your Love Flow, the Bellamy brothers are the most successful duo in country music history, consistently climbing into the upper reaches of the Billboard country charts during the 1980s. More than most acts of the late 70s and 80s, the Bellamys pushed the borders of country music, adding strong elements of rock, reggae, and even rap, racking up a string of top 10 singles that ran into the early 90s, after which they remained a popular concert attraction. So the Bellamy brothers. Well, this is brother David. They're not twins. I checked online because I was like, are they twins? Do they look alike? But they're not twins.
Okay.
One is definitely older than the other, at least look-wise. But, I'm not a big country person, so sometimes I'm surprised by some of the country artists that have racked up all these statistics because I think, oh, really? I didn't know. I might only know one or two songs that they sang that made it onto the, kind of the pop charts.
Yep.
But apparently, yep. The Bellamy brothers were quite the popular act. So, okay, well, we have plenty more birthdays to do, but I do want to announce before we take our 6:30 break, which is coming up in about 30 seconds, that my guest, second hour, will be, her name is Season Bryant. I love that name, Season. I think it's so cool. And she is with Mercy Life, which is under Trinity Health of New England. And it's an all-inclusive care services package kind of thing for seniors. Mercy Life has been around for a while, and there are various life programs all over the country. It's a national program, but it's a really interesting concept. I've heard very, very positive things from both Counselor Bill Oniski, who has a relative, and I can't remember who, whether it's a parent, an in-law, or an aunt or uncle, who's been in the program for a number of years. And Ralph Figge, who also, I believe, has a relative not in this state, but in another state, who has also been in the program. So we're going to talk to Season about that program and what it all includes and, how much it is and kind of who's appropriate for that. Yeah, so I think that'll be a really special thing. She's actually coming into the studio. Pete, we now have people that want to get on.
I think people are realizing what's going on and limited things you can do and, just not go nuts.
Here's the other piece of it. I said to Season, we can do it as a phone interview or you can come into the studio, whatever you're more comfortable with. And apparently she has a child or multiple children and thought that it would be best to come to the studio so we didn't have kids in the background, screaming.
Oh, we had that during one of the Art Speed shows. One of the girls that works at Theater Works, her kid just crawled up on his shoulder and happened to the mayor.
There you go. Yep.
Quinn comes in and goes, "Dad, what are you doing?"
Yeah, exactly. Hi, what's going on? What's for breakfast? Where are my pajamas?
Right.
Okay. All right. It is 6:31. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. We're going to take a break, and we're going to listen to Bernie Calvert with the group The Hollies singing one of their most famous songs, Bus Stop. We'll be back.
Bus stop, wet day, she's there, I say, please share my umbrella. Bus stop, bus go, she stays, love grows under my umbrella. All that summer we enjoyed it, wind and rain and shine. That umbrella we employed.
Underwriting is brought to you by Boise Cascade Distribution, providing products and services needed for building material dealers, home improvement centers, and industrial customers. They offer everything from engineered wood and plywood to Drex decking and railing, James Hardy siding, and Advantech subfloor. Located at 33 Fowler Street Extension in Westfield and on the web at bc.com, they are committed to providing quality products, great service, convenience, and value.
Join us the third Wednesday of every month with Selectman Joe Didi and his take on everything Southwick.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:35. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and Pete Coles is in the studio with me. Pete is in his booth.
Yes.
Far away from me. He's, I can see him through the glass booth, but lest you think that, we're not physically distancing, we are. We're doing what we need to do.
A little bit more comfortable in here than yesterday.
Was it?
We was 92 degrees in here when I came in here yesterday.
Oh, my goodness. Are you kidding me? It's so funny, though.
I think they shut off the unit.
Well, yeah. Because outside, by the way, if you haven't been outside this morning, it was like 43 degrees out there.
Yeah, it was 44, 45, something like that. Yeah. So I think they shut off the unit because all it was doing was blowing heat in here yesterday afternoon when it was still warm out.
Yeah.
It was already warm out.
Yeah.
And so I left the windows open last night. It was like chilly in here when I came in today. It was great. And all the equipment was happy.
Oh, the equipment was loving it, Pete.
Yeah.
They love that. They love that cool weather. They do not. Yeah. I've learned that. Well, I learned that at the radio station when we did it up at the college.
Yeah.
That it was always
when the air conditioner wasn't working, even in the winter, it was warm in there.
That was not good.
Yeah.
The machines don't like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am wearing today this is my new thing. So I am wearing my Run Stanley t-shirt.
That's right. It's that time of year, isn't it?
It is that time of year, and of course, because a few years ago I made the comment that they should add a walk or a stroll to Run Stanley, and that put me on the Run Stanley committee, of course. And we did add the
senior stroll.
We added the senior stroll, but then we changed the name last year because we had a lot of people who weren't seniors who wanted to do the stroll. And for
Stanley Stroll?
Yes, the Stanley Stroll. And so that's what we named it. We renamed it the Stanley. So last year, if you look at all the marketing stuff, it was called the Stanley Stroll. So anybody could do it. We had like young moms who wanted to push baby strollers and things like they can't run with that, or they don't run with that. But anyway, this year, of course, we can't really do Run Stanley in the traditional way. And so we are doing a virtual Run Stanley, and it's actually a virtual do something. Run, stroll, walk, do both. Take your canine, don't take your canine, because, of course, we have the canine run as well.
All that. I've
we have
been
the
there
Munchkin
for many
run.
Years.
We're just really encouraging families to get out there during the month of September at some point and either, do it at Stanley Park if you're comfortable with that. But if you're not comfortable with that, do it in your neighborhood. Walk around your house 16 times, whatever works for you. We're just really encouraging people to do that. If you would like to send a donation into the park, of course, there's no charge to, do the virtual walk, run, stroll. But if you'd like to send a donation, of course, the park would be more than appreciative. And you can just let them know if you, put it on your check, put a little note in there that this is for Run Stanley, because it will go to the sanctuary, to whatever upgrades they're busy working on now. So I decided that the best way for me to remember to announce this is to wear the T-shirt. Instead of like a sticky note someplace, I thought, we'll just wear the T-shirt and have people say, oh, yeah, Run Stanley. And so I can encourage people to do that. So please take advantage of the lovely weather that we have. I mean, we have really had some beautiful weather for walking and running and, hiking and doing those things. So if you can get out there and enjoy the park a little bit, by all means, do that. Okay, so that's my little Run Stanley infomercial there. Before the next break, I want to talk a little bit about my next birthday, because this has to do with our next song. It is the birthday, September 16th, of singer, songwriter, actor Mark Anthony. He was born this day in 1968 in New York City. He's 52 years old today. The name he was born with was Marco Antonio Muñez. He was born to parents from who came here from Puerto Rico. His mother was a housewife, and his father was a hospital cafeteria worker and a musician. So he paid for the families, for the rent and the mortgage or whatever as a hospital cafeteria worker, but of course did musical work on the side. Mark Anthony is a singer, songwriter, actor, record executive, television producer, and philanthropist. Anthony is also the top-selling tropical salsa artist of all time. The 2-time Grammy Award and 6-time Latin Grammy Award winner has sold more than 12 million albums worldwide. Known for his Latin salsa numbers and ballads, Mark Anthony has won numerous awards, and he's been honored through various recognitions. He was the recipient of the 2009 Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute Lifetime Achievement Award. So I think that was probably one of his most meaningful awards. So happy birthday to Mark Anthony, who had a string of hits. All the titles were all Spanish, and I was not about to attempt to pronounce any of those.
Sure.
Because I took German in high school, not Spanish. And so anyway, happy birthday to Mark Anthony. And of course, we'll play one of his songs coming up. I think I'm going to do one more birthday, but when we come back, we need to talk about the National Day today, because it's an interesting one, especially in light of all these, in the pandemic and school and virtual learning and all of those good things that parents are trying to deal with. Today, we were talking before about Alan Funt and Candid Camera. Well, today is the birthday of the late Alan Funt, television personality, producer, director, and writer. He was born September 16th, 1914 in Brooklyn, New York, and he died at the age of 84 in 1999. Now, Alan Funt was best known as the creator and host of Candid Camera from the 1940s to the 1980s as either a regular television show or a television series of specials. Candid Camera was a popular and long-running American hidden camera reality television series. The show often featured practical jokes and initially began on the radio in 1947 as the Candid Microphone. Its most notable television run was from 1960 to 1967 on CBS. The show involved concealed cameras filming ordinary people being confronted with unusual situations, sometimes involving trick props such as a desk with drawers that pop open when one is closed, or a car with a hidden extra gas tank. When the joke was revealed, victims were told the show's catchphrase, "Smile, you're on Candid Camera." And I have to tell you, if you have a computer, and for those of you I remember watching Candid Camera as a kid, because I was born in the 50s, grew up in the 60s, and Candid Camera was a staple in my household. And there are, but you can YouTube it. And some of the skits are absolutely hilarious. And, some of them are still like in black and white.
Sure.
It was from the early 60s. But they really, really are funny. And, now there's so much reality TV out there. But it's similar to, I remember Grace used to watch the show Punk'd. And it was kind of the same thing. It was a gag thing with a camera. And you don't know you're on camera. You don't know that somebody's spoofing you. But anyway, happy birthday to Alan Funt. And the funny thing is in the Gorman family, not just our household, but like in the extended Gorman family, Alan Funt lives on, because our favorite expression is, "Where's Alan Funt with the camera?" When you feel like, what else could go wrong today? What else could happen? Life is like falling around apart, and it's like, where's Alan Funt with the camera? I can't believe that it's one more thing going on. Gary's brother came up with that expression, and it just took off, and everybody in the Gorman household, we use that all the time. So
that's funny.
We have a lot of fun. Alan Funt and Candid Camera certainly live on in the Gorman household. But again, for those of you, especially those of you who are older and remember the show, and if you are computer savvy, YouTube a few things, because all you have to do is just YouTube, Candid Camera, and you'll come up with a whole, there's a whole slew of things that you can go and look through. And you know what? If you need a good laugh, that's a good way to get one. So
There you go.
all right, it is 6:44. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. We're going to listen to Mark Anthony in honor of his birthday singing You Sang to Me. We'll be back.
Support for community radio on WSKB provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
Join us the third Wednesday of every month with Selectman Joe Didi and his take on everything Southwick.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:51. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. I'm in the studio here at Westfield Technical Academy with our chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
So some of the students are
back.
Some of the students are actually back. They're
sophomores and juniors this
Okay.
week. This is their shop week.
So do you know how this is working, Pete? Like I'm a little confused about. I know the tech students were coming back for shops. So, but how's that
So
working?
on academic week, they're home.
Oh, gotcha.
Academic week, they're home. Shop week, they're here.
Okay.
We're wearing masks in the building.
Yep.
Pretty much at all times.
Yep.
When I'm in the bubble here, I just
Yeah.
kind of leave it
Yeah.
off. So
Well,
when I'm out in the hallway interacting with the kids,
Right.
unless I'm going like right to my car or something to
Right,
get
right,
something
right.
quick, then I just jump in and out. But
Okay.
yeah, so masks are being worn around here. We're encouraging people to, guests and things like that, to wear masks in, and you can take them off in the studio.
Yep.
So we'll have to let people know that from now
Yeah,
on.
we will. And I actually, of course,
still
I have
disinfecting
all
and
my
everything.
cars out all my masks out in the car because
Right.
usually it's just you and me, and you're in one room and I'm in another room. So
Right,
I
and
don't
I
really
think
need
for
it,
now
so-
it's fine,
yeah,
but
no, I'll be conscious of that.
you'd have limited exposure going in and out of the building anyways,
Right.
and we disinfect, so I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, and just for our listeners, the door to the parking lot, I mean, I can see it from here. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's
we
5
don't
feet
have
away.
to wander through the building. We just
Correct.
zip out. So
Yeah, we have our own entrance.
okay.
I'm working on a parking sign so I can reserve my parking spot over here that I'm
Yeah,
supposed to have.
I know. I thought about that when I pulled in today, and I said, "Hey, I've been so used to just parking wherever." I just
Yes,
kind
you have to let guests to park outside in the visitor area
Yes,
again and
okay,
things like
all
that.
right.
Over the summer, we were spoiled because there was no one here and we could park
No.
inside.
I know. Well, actually, there's been nobody here since March,
March,
the middle of
yes.
March. So we've had
Spoiled.
we've had free reign, Pete.
Yeah, we've been spoiled.
All right, so Pete, today, September 16th, is National Working Parents Day. So we need
Okay.
to talk about this a little bit. So National Working Parents Day honors the working parent. The day pays tribute to those parents who work to provide for their family. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, around 61% of families with children have both parents working outside of the home.
Wow.
That number, listen to this. That number increases to nearly 65% for families when the youngest child is at least 6 years old. However, if the youngest child is under 6 years old, the number drops to approximately 56%, but still more than half, even with young children. Working parents face a range of challenges. While juggling daycare and schedules top the list, they also struggle to find time with each other and their children. It's often a balancing act that requires excellent communication skills, patience, and lots of love. Often, working parents feel divided between home and work. Many times, parents work opposite schedules so that there's always a parent home with the children. As a result, the adults rarely spend any time alone. Each takes a turn staying home if one of the children becomes sick. School activities and other events are carefully orchestrated. That's how working parents make it all come together. Precious family meals, bedtime stories, family movie nights, and vacations become highlights. These are the moments where working parents receive their rewards. A parent's work is never done, so working parents, pat yourself on the back, spend some quality time with your children. Before long, they're going to be all grown up. For now, celebrate your tenacity and your perseverance. While you're celebrating, share your best tips and tricks for organizing your busy life. Now, of course, when they instituted National Working Parents Day, which has been around for a little while, they really did not do it with COVID-19 in mind. So I'm going to take it one step further and provide some tips for working from home with kids during COVID-19, because we still have a lot of students, a lot of children that are learning virtually, at least right now. They're, remote, doing it from home. Parents trying to juggle, either staying at home with kids and doing their own work from home, or, sort of semi getting back into the workplace, which is really challenging when you've got kids at home. So here are a few tips for you. Number one, create a schedule. The goal is not to recreate the school day exactly, but to build a new routine for doing schoolwork at home. You want to collaborate with your kids as you make a schedule. For most ages, 30-minute blocks are best for specific academic tasks. You want to get out on a high note and move on to the next thing. Parents, of course, will want to make sure their child's schedule matches what they need to do that day. If you have a conference call at 10 a.m., maybe that's when the hour that the kids watch PBS. So the schedule should be displayed in a prominent place where everyone can see it, and you and your kids can refer to it during the day. So maybe up on the refrigerator, on the kitchen door, something like that. Get up and move around. It's helpful to mix in gross motor movement and quiet time. For gross motor activities, if going outside is not an option for your children during the day, try fort building, indoor hopscotch, or using hula hoops. So, just think about some things that are going to help to keep them moving around a little bit. Because let's face it, when they're in school, they have opportunities. If they're older, they're switching classes. They're walking around in the hall. If they're younger, they're going out for recess or gym class. All right, schedule time to be with your kids. Even if the family is in the same house together all day, that doesn't mean that the children are getting the level of interaction they crave from adults. Schedule time for when kids know that they have access to mom or dad. Maybe that's preparing lunch together. That way you can point them to the schedule and say, we're going to hang out in about 15 minutes. So I think that's really important, because sometimes people confuse the fact that, we're all in the house together to actually doing together kinds of things. Number 4, embrace technology, folks. Kids are social creatures, and there are many technological tools that allow people to stay in touch today, from FaceTime to playing games together online. You can call on grandma to spend 30 minutes reading a book to your son on FaceTime, or have Aunt Sue do math facts from her home in Toledo. You can include online interactions with friends and family into your schedule. I love this. Make a digital village. I just think that's such a cool expression, make a digital village. And that's what we talked about this, I think, last week when we were talking about the when Alicia was here from the Arbors, and we were talking about the support group, the Alzheimer's support group that Beth Cardillo is running over at Armbrook Village. And Beth was saying, because they have to do it as a Zoom meeting, one of the benefits of that is that they're getting families of their residents who live out of state.
More attendance, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Beth said, they're
and
not.
It might be actually be somewhat more convenient, too.
Yeah. It's a lot. And,
the
let's
caregivers
face it,
can do that in their home.
Exactly. And they don't have to worry about, and I know my dad had Alzheimer's disease, so I know that was an issue for my mom. It was really important for her to go to the support group meetings. She just felt like that was her lifeline. But it meant that she had to make sure that my brother or my sister-in-law or my niece could stay with my dad. He just had gotten to the point where he couldn't be by himself. So, yeah, certainly the Zoom meetings, kind of make that an option.
Sure.
Be mindful of how you talk to your children about COVID-19. How you say things is just as important as the actual words that you use. You want to talk in a way that's factual but not panicky. So in general, provide clear information that is age appropriate. Start with asking your child what they understand about what is happening. Their answers can help guide you in the terms that they use. Maybe there's some misleading information that they're getting and you need to correct that. Monitor what your children are exposed to in terms of TV and the computer when it comes to news. Point them toward more reliable information and be honest about what you know and what you don't know and what the experts are saying out there. Tell them that grown-ups are working very hard right now to keep us all safe. Number 7, be on the lookout for anxiety. If your child is acting out, know that many of these behaviors could be related to anxiety over the current situation. They're still out of their norm. September is supposed to be, we buy our back to school clothes and we fill our backpacks and off we go back to school.
Buy your back to school laptop.
Right, exactly. Get your Chromebook. So, that's all different. And kids are going to exhibit anxiety in different ways. And sometimes it's going to come out as, bad behavior. They may be whiny, they may be irritable, or they may have more temper tantrums. Instead of getting angry or upset or annoyed, which is, what your tendency to do, take a breath, ask them what's on their mind, see if you can sort it out with them. And number 8, finally, and we have been saying this since day one, Gary and I have been doing this every day. Look for the silver linings. There are silver linings. Although it may seem difficult to see the benefits of distancing and such disruption to our everyday lives, at least for now, there are some. Families generally are spending more time together, and eventually they're going to look back on this time and know that they got through something difficult, that they rallied, and they made it through. We're seeing, Gary and I are still seeing lots and lots of families out there walking, especially in the evening, when work is done and school is done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a great thing. I mean, we've been walking and running for a long time, and I've never seen this many families doing it together. So I think that's great. And also, think about this. This experience can also teach children how to deal with disappointment and be more flexible, which are vital life skills that parents can model as they work to get through this together. So, we keep saying that word flexible keeps coming up because, with this pandemic, we just have to be flexible. I feel like the person who's probably got to be the most flexible in the city right now is Stefan Zaporowski, our superintendent of schools, because, you're planning and it's like, okay, this is the plan for right now. It may have to change in 3 weeks or 2 weeks or 1 week or, in an hour. I mean, we're all living that, and we're doing the same thing at the senior center. And I understand for people that have difficulty with flexibility, I'm a planner. And so when I set the plan, I want to stick with the plan, but we've learned that we can't always stick with the plan. So Try to be flexible. So a few tips. All right. It is 7:03. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. We're going to take our top of the hour break. We have a couple more birthdays to do. And in about 10 minutes, we have our guest with us. I think
sitting
she's
in the
here.
bullpen. Yep.
Perfect. She's in the bullpen. So in about 10 minutes, we'll have our guest on. Let's take a break.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:05. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. Pete Coles is in the studio with me this morning. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
Are you starting to wake up a little bit?
Not really.
Not really. Pete's tired. It was a really late night. He had
It's going to be another long day.
He had a planning board meeting that lasted until midnight.
Yes.
And we have a lot going on today. And, Pete, can you just kind of talk a little bit to the listening audience about the debate tonight? Because I think I think it's wonderful.
So tonight the debate will be amongst the 3 candidates for state representative.
Right, for Westfield. So we have
Matt Garlow, Ethan Flaherty, and Kelly Pease.
Yep. Perfect.
So there's 3 podiums in here. You can kind of see the pipe and drape behind you, which will be here for the they're going to run 3 debates in here. So
is that really?
Yeah.
And so what time is the debate? 7? Is that right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
7 for an hour? Will it be like
I would think it would be an hour.
And who is
an hour or 90 minutes.
And is Patrick Berry involved in this somehow?
I have no idea.
I think I read that in the paper. I thought that he was going to be asking
I think he's going to be one of the questioners.
Yeah, just person. Yeah, asking the questions.
Hopefully Hope will be part of it. Basically, I'm not really producing this. We're just providing the technical expertise to pull this off.
Okay.
The Westfield Taxpayers Association is kind of handling all of that.
And
I told them,
it,
I said, you guys have to run this. I don't have the personnel to pull off something like this.
Yep.
In the past, the Westfield News and Hope Tremblay have done it.
Yep.
But they were, I think they were thankful to have somebody else take it over, between the chamber and Hope.
Yeah.
And now our chamber director's leaving, so they're not in a position to do it this year.
Right.
So they kind of stepped in to step up to do it. So,
okay. Perfect. All right.
I will provide cameras and directing and get it on the air. And you guys provide the blocking and set layout and things like that.
And I believe that there's a front page article on today's Westfield News, which will give you more details about it. Because I stopped at the senior center on my way in this morning, and I grabbed the paper, checked the headline. I should have brought it with me, but anyway, I think that the Westfield News is really trying to do a good job of getting that information out to people.
Sure.
So you can either watch it on Channel 15 or you can live stream it from your computer. Either way.
Yep.
All right, couple more birthdays. A few announcements, and we're going to get our guest in here. It is the birthday of the late James Cash Penney. Think about that. James Cash Penney. He was born September 16th, 1875 in Hamilton, Missouri. He died February 12th, 1971 at the ripe old age of 95. He lived a really long life. So in 1898, James Cash Penney began working for a small chain of stores in the western United States called the Golden Rule Stores. In 1902, the owners, Guy Johnson and Thomas Callahan, impressed by his work ethic and salesmanship, offered Penney 1/3 partnership in a new store that he would open. Penney invested $2,000, and have you figured it out?
Yep.
And moved to Kemmerer, Wyoming, to open a store there. He participated in opening 2 more stores, and when Callahan and Johnson dissolved their partnership in 1907, Penney purchased full interest in all 3 stores. By 1912, there were 34 stores in the Rocky Mountain states. In 1913, the company was incorporated under the new name J.C. Penney Company. Wow. In 1916, Penney began to expand the chain east of the Mississippi. The number of stores reached 1,400 by 1929. The large income allowed Penney to be heavily involved in many philanthropic causes during the 1920s. However, the stock market crash of 1929 left James Cash Penney in financial ruin. After the crash, Penney lost virtually all of his personal wealth and borrowed against his life insurance policies to help the company meet its payroll. The financial setbacks took a toll on his health. Even after relinquishing daily operating management of the company, Penny continued his active involvement in managing the company and its stores until his death in 1971. And that is the story of J.C. Penney, James Cash Penney. That was his name. All right. One more birthday. It is the birthday of David Copperfield, magician, born September 16th, 1956 in Metuchen, New Jersey. And I know where Metuchen, New Jersey is because it's not that far from where I grew up. He's 64 years old today. David Seth Kotkin, known professionally as David Copperfield, is an American magician described by Forbes magazine as the most commercially successful magician in history. Copperfield's television specials have won 21 Emmy Awards and 38 nominations. Best known for his combination of storytelling and illusion, Copperfield's career of over 40 years has earned him 11 Guinness World Records, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a knighthood by the French government, and he has been named a living legend by the United States Library of Congress. As of 2006, David Copperfield has sold 33 million tickets and grossed over $4 billion more than any other solo entertainer in history. In 2015, Forbes magazine listed his earnings at $63 million for the previous 12 months and ranked him the 20th highest earning celebrity in the world. So there's money in being a magician, I guess, if you're a really good one anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right. A few announcements before we go to break, just a couple. One is I just want to announce, because we've been getting a flurry of phone calls about flu shots. Unfortunately, the flu shots at the senior center are booked solid. And I only let Mary Kohut, who's coordinating this for me, put like 10 people on the waiting list. And we have had a few people that canceled out. We're keeping the waiting list at about 10. Only because we've had some seniors who have called us and said, hey, you know what? I was able to get a flu shot, and so I'm good. I'm going to give my appointment to somebody else, so, free up that spot. But for the most part, folks, we have had – the seniors are having some success with, the local pharmacies, CVS, Walgreens, they're doing flu shots. So, but we are booked, and I apologize for that. But we kind of saw that one coming. I also want to remind folks, because we are doing our Cops for a Cause chili luncheon tomorrow. It's all about the Alzheimer's Association. Beth Cardillo is doing the Alzheimer's Walk this month and is looking for sponsors. So this is all about Alzheimer's awareness. So I just want to remind you that on Channel 15, every Tuesday at 2:45 during the month of September, Beth Cardillo did a presentation. Harry Rock hosts that series on the Westfield Council on Aging Presents. And the title is It Dementia or Normal Aging? So if you have questions either about yourself or maybe a family member, or you just, want to know a little bit more about Alzheimer's and dementias, this is a great opportunity. It's about a 45-minute program. So tune in to 45, or you can live stream it on your computer. Or if you're YouTube savvy, you can go in anytime you want, because Pete has done a wonderful job of bundling and packaging all of our senior center programming, fitness, and all of the educational programs that we've done since May, I think is when we started. No, maybe we started in April, May, June, July. Yeah, we've got about 5 or 6 of them in the books now. So by all means, please tune into that. Again, if you watch it on Channel 15, it's Tuesdays at 2:45. And I think that is it for now. Yep, I think that's all the announcements that we need to make. Our guest is, as Pete likes to say, in the bullpen, so she'll be joining us after we take this break. We're going to play the song Family Man by Craig Campbell, and this is in honor of National Working Parents Day. When we come back, we'll have Susan Bryant from Mercy Life. We'll be right back.
Been working as a temp at the local factory. I hope they hire me on full time. I got shoes to buy and mouths to feed. I drive a buy here, pay here truck. Get ain't new, but it is to me. Now it ain't much, but it fires right up and gets me from A to B. What puts the dirt underneath my nails? What keeps the calluses on my hands? Family, man. They're the world my world revolves around, my sacred piece of solid ground, the flesh and bone that gives me strength to stand. They're the fire in my driving on, the drive behind my coming home, the living, breathing reason that I am a family man. There's dirty shirts to wash, dishes in the sink to do, and there's how many times to 17 go into 52. There's bedtime prayers to pray, sleep tights and I love yous, and then there's a pair of eyes I get to lose myself into. What keeps me keeping the faith? What makes me believe I can? Family, man. They're the world my world revolves around, my sacred piece of solid ground, the flesh and bone that gives me strength to stand. They're the fire in my driving on, the drive behind my coming home, the living, breathing reason that I am a family man. They're the fire in my driving on, the drive behind my coming home, the living, breathing reason that I am a family man. A family man.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for ArtSpeak, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Morning, Westfield. It is 7:18. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. Pete Coles is in the studio with me in his little secluded glass booth over there. And my guest this morning is Susan Bryant, Community Liaison with Mercy Life, and that's through Trinity Health of New England. So welcome, Susan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. Pete and I are very excited. You're only our second guest to actually come to the studio since COVID's hit. So most of our guests have been doing it, phoning in. So last week we had Alicia Desereau here from the Arbors at Westfield, and she wanted to come into the studio. So Pete and I were all excited because it's been the two of us, and usually what we've had is somebody call in, and then we've had a screenshot of them. But it's actually nice to have some live bodies here. So welcome.
Thank you.
So normally, Susan, I start by just asking a little bit about the person and their background and where they're from and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to ask all of that, but with you, the very first thing I have to ask, I know you know where this is coming, right? Because you must get this question all the time. So your first name is Susan, just the way it's Season.
Yes.
Which Brian, I think that is the coolest name ever.
Thank you.
So I have to ask, what's the background on the name?
Well,
let's talk about
I'll
that.
start with my parents were hippies.
I love that. I was gonna say it just it's like because the hippies used to name their kids things like Babbling Brook and
Sure.
things like that. Oh my God, get out of here.
Back in the 70s, they didn't do ultrasounds, so my mom didn't know if she was having a girl or a boy. And she was watching TV and saw an actress and was, wow, that actress seems pretty cool. Who is this? So she picked up the TV guide. And
Back in the day when we used to have TV guides.
Right.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
And the actress' name is Susan Hubley. And she was on a show, I believe it was called Family or My Family, something along those lines. And my mom thought to herself, well, if I'm having a girl, I'm going to name her Susan. So obviously that's what happened. But what's funny is if she was having a boy.
That was my next question. Okay, so what happens if it was a boy?
If she was having a boy, my name would have been Jessie, which I've asked her. I said, Jessie is a girl name to me. Why didn't you just, stick with Jessie? But in her mind, in the 70s, Jessie was a name.
Jessie was a guy.
A guy.
Susan was a girl.
Yep.
Have you ever met another Susan?
I don't like to admit it because I like to think I'm the only one. But I have.
Really?
I have, yes. There's actually a woman named Susan, and I don't know if she still works for a VNA, but several years ago we crossed paths. And
oh my gosh, like locally?
Yes, locally. And
That's
of course,
amazing.
with Facebook, I had someone reach out to me. I believe she was from New York, and her name was also Susan Bryant. And, just kind of funny that. Yeah, I guess the name's out there, although, again, I don't like to admit it. I like to think I'm the only one.
Well, in my book, you're the only one because I've never, ever seen that name. And I just thought, okay. Of course, the first time I saw it, I was sort of like, male, female? Like I had, I said because I just have never met anybody with that name. I'm not sure who I'm looking for here.
People don't believe it when they see it on paper. So they'll, the first time they meet me, they'll try maybe Susan or maybe Caesar. And, usually my standard line is season, like winter.
Yeah, there you go. Or whatever we happen to be in. Yeah. Well, my middle name is Jude. And so the interesting thing, I was named after St. Jude, but when I grew up, it was because I grew up in the 60s. And so when people would say, oh, your middle name is Judy, I said, no, Jude as in hay, the Beatles song. So, and people are like, oh, okay. Which interestingly, Jude is actually a male name.
Well, I agree. We have a close family friend and his name is Jude.
Yeah. And the reason my mother had 4 miscarriages between my brother and me, prayed to St. Jude, very Catholic, and promised St. Jude, no matter male or female, Jude was going to be in there somewhere, so that's my middle name.
Very
nice. Cool. Okay, so Susan, let's talk a little bit about your background. So, because I had to get through the name first, but let's talk a little bit about where you're from and how did you end up doing what you're doing? Because as I like to say to most of my guests who have unusual professional titles, I'm sure when your 3rd grade teacher asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? You didn't say a community liaison for Mercy Life. So let's talk a little bit about your background. Where are you from?
Well, I'm originally from Chicopee, Massachusetts. I was born and raised in Chicopee. I went to college in Manchester, New Hampshire. I attended a small Catholic college where I earned a bachelor's degree in business management. When I originally went to college, I was thinking I was going to be a preschool teacher. And after a couple classroom experiences, I decided that wasn't for me after all, and switched my major to business management. I graduated college and I ended up moving back home because I wanted to be closer to my family, and my grandmother was getting older, and I wanted to have some time to spend with her. We had always been very close. So I moved back to Chicopee and I started working for an insurance agency, and I kind of felt like I was not doing what I was meant to be doing. And I had just gotten married. My husband and I have been married for a little over 17 years now. And he encouraged me to resign my position and find something that was meant to be for me.
Okay.
So I tried a couple different things and ended up at a local ASAP, which is an aging service access point in Holyoke. And I started doing some community programs, working with elders in the community.
So were you working for Western Mass Elder Care? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I worked there for several years in a couple different programs. And then in 2006, my husband and I decided we were going to start our family. So we got pregnant and had a son. His name is Cole. And I went to back to work after my maternity leave. And that lasted maybe 8 weeks. And my husband and I both felt like it just wasn't working for us. So my maternity leave extended to 7 years. And during that time, we were able to, my mother-in-law was able to move in with us, and we were able to provide care for her at the end of her life. And then my son was going into the first grade, and we felt like, all right, it's time to get back into the workforce. I was spending a lot of time just not really doing too much of anything during the day while Cole was at school.
Yeah.
So I called West Mass back and said, I'm thinking about maybe coming back to work. And thankfully, they graciously welcomed me back into the fold.
Well, the nice thing about any of the ASAPs, and just for our listeners here in Westfield, so the equivalent of where Susan worked at Western Mass Elder Care would be Highland Valley Elder Services. That's
Correct.
our aging access point here in the Westfield area. But the nice thing about those agencies, because years ago I worked for West Suburban Elder Services outside of Boston, which is now I think Springwell, but is that they're large agencies with lots of different kinds of positions, and so you can actually try a few different things.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
So it's kind of a nice type of an organization for somebody who's maybe not quite sure. I like working with older adults, but I'm not quite sure how I want to do this. So I think that's great. So when you went back to West Mass Elder Care, what were you doing when you went back after your son
I
was
went
born?
back into the state home care program, which is providing services to elders like home care, personal care.
So you were a care manager?
Yep, I was a care manager, and then I moved over to the options program, which is a program that the state offers for residents of Massachusetts to learn about all the community programs available and how to go about applying for them, what the criteria is. So that's when I really kind of got my feet wet in community outreach.
Yep.
So I, really enjoyed that position, and then was promoted into a supervision position, and discovered that supervision really wasn't for me. My heart was in the community. And at that point, I decided that I wanted to kind of look for something that I could be back out in the community, talking with folks, educating people on different services and supports that are available for elders to remain in their home. Because that's a big thing with the demographic. And I know Tina, being at the senior center, but a lot of times what happens are people are afraid to ask for assistance because they think the only option is nursing home placement. And there's so many options in between, and just getting that information out is important and relevant to elders today.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I think you're right, Susan. Probably every older adult's fear is nursing home.
Absolutely.
And we've tried to alleviate some of that on this program as well, because not all nursing homes are created equal. We know that. But obviously most people would prefer to stay in their own home, or at least in some type of an independent living situation. And you're right, sometimes that cry for help is, if I cry for help and if I say I need this, that, or the other thing, the first response is going to be, he can't stay home anymore.
Right.
She can't stay at she can't live alone anymore. So I think it's a matter of educating older adults as well as their family members, because a lot of times, we get the calls. You must get you've done home care. It's like the calls from the family. It's like, well, what's out there? And it can be very complicated. It can be very convoluted. Who's eligible for what financial help is available? What do I have to pay for on my own? If I get some kind of service coming into my home, how often does that happen? So, it's just this maze of trying to figure all this stuff out. It's complicated for those of us. I've been in the field for 40 years. It's complicated for those of us who have been doing this for a long time. Never mind families who have never, they don't even know where to start.
Yep.
And I think a lot of times for the councils on aging, because we're sort of community driven and we're right within the city or town, oftentimes we're the starting point.
Sure.
So, we explain to people, we're going to steer you in a direction. We're going to give you a lot of referrals. We're going to give you names and phone numbers. But I always say to people, but if none of that works out, then call us back.
Right.
Then we'll figure out what the next step is. Don't hit dead ends but we don't know it. Once
Right.
I send you on your way, I'm assuming somebody else is going to be helping, taking care of you. And if that doesn't happen, you have to come back and let me know and say, hey, I called this person, this didn't work, or that didn't work, or I'm not eligible for this, so that we can say, okay, well, back to the drawing board we go. So, all right, now that we kind of know a little bit about who you are, how you were named, and how you got to where you are today, we're going to take a short break so that when we come back, we can start to talk a little bit about the Mercy Life program and what you're doing today, and you can really start to educate us on that. Great. So I'm going to use my cheat sheet to figure out what I'm doing here. So we are going to, in honor of the birthday of David Bellamy, we're going to listen to the Bellamy Brothers singing Let Your Love Flow. It is 7:31. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield Masses, and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My guest is Susan Bryant. We'll be right back.
There's a reason for the sunshine sky, and there's a reason why I'm feeling so high. Must be the season when that love light shines all around us. So let that feeling grab you deep inside and send you reeling where your love can't hide, and then go stealing through the moonlit nights with your lover. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Let your love fly like a bird on the wing, and let your love find you to all living things, and let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. That's the reason. There's a reason for the warm, sweet nights, and there's a reason for the candle lights. Must be the season when those love lights shine all around us. So let that wonder take you into space and lay you under its loving embrace. Just feel the thunder as it warms your face. You can't hold back. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Let your love fly like a bird on the wing, and let your love find you to all living things, and let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. That's the reason. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Let your love fly like a bird on a wing, and let your love find you to all living things, and let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. That's the reason.
Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:35. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. Pete, that never gets old. Every time I hear Bob Plass do that.
Because it was so natural.
It was so natural. It just never gets old.
It was like his third or fourth take.
I mean, he was like a little kid. I did it. Yeah, right. It was like take number 16. Okay, Bob, great.
And Jay's laugh was genuine because
it was perfect.
I didn't even think I had his mic open for the take. So
I know. It was perfect. I get a kick out of it every time you play that. All right, my name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am here today in the studio with Susan Bryant, who is the community liaison for Mercy Life, which is through Trinity Health of New England. So welcome again, Susan.
Thank you.
So Mercy Life is a PACE program. Is that correct? Do I have that right?
That is correct.
Okay, so let's talk about what is a PACE program?
Sure. So PACE is an acronym for Program of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. It is a healthcare program which really is 360 degrees of care. It includes everything from primary care, nursing, physical therapy, recreational therapy. We have transportation to and from our day center, as well as to and from medical appointments with a fleet of wheelchair accessible vans. We also have social services, dietitian, and we have a rehab gym on site. The Adult Day Health Center that we have on site at Mercy Life in West Springfield has recently started to slowly and safely bring back a limited number of our participants to our Adult Day Health. Currently in Massachusetts, there's over 15 Adult Day Health Centers that are in the process of permanently closing.
Yeah.
So we're thrilled that we're able to bring some of our participants back in a limited capacity. And we're doing that following safety guidelines, which includes pre-screening for any potential COVID symptoms. We are taking our participants' temperatures as they arrive, and we're practicing frequent hand sanitation. Local folks will be happy to hear that Mercy Adult Day Health here in Westfield has also reopened following the same procedures. So Mercy Adult Day Health in Westfield and Mercy Life PACE are two separate programs. However, we're both part of the Trinity Health family.
Right, exactly. So, what is the kind of the history of PACE? Because PACE this is not just a local program.
No.
I mean, there are PACE programs all over the country.
Yep, that's correct.
So, what's kind of the history of that? Like, how did that start, and when? How long has it been around?
It started over 45 years ago in California. There was a group of people who felt like it was financially infeasible and culturally inappropriate to put their frail seniors into a nursing facility. So they developed this healthcare model, and it was called On Lok, which is Cantonese and means peaceful, happy abode. So this healthcare model, this social healthcare model, caught on and slowly made its way across the country. It's been in Massachusetts for quite some time, and it's been in Western Massachusetts. Mercy Life has been here for almost 6 years.
Yeah, I remember when they started, and I could not wrap my head around this concept because it's a different. I mean, we're so used to this fragmented,
right?
That this just seemed. To be honest with you, I remember when I first heard about it, I'm like, okay, well, that's too good to be true. So that's never going to work. That's not going to last. I mean, it's just
thankfully it has.
Yeah.
And what's nice is in a PACE program, in the PACE model, Mercy Life will become your healthcare provider as well as your health insurance. So you can think of it as kind of a marriage between the two, which allows us to create a very tightly coordinated plan of healthcare. Almost like a one-stop shopping because the majority of the providers are under the same roof.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone has, say, a medical event or something comes up where their care plan may need to be changed to meet whatever the new need is, we're able to really focus on that quickly and make those changes necessary to keep people safe and enable them to remain in their home, aging in place where most people want to be. People want to be in their home. They definitely do not want to be in an institutionalized setting. And the goal of a PACE model of care is to keep people in home, keep them in their home comfortably, and meet all of their needs, including social needs, healthcare needs, mental health needs. All of those different components of healthcare are what frail elders really benefit from. It's not just medical care. There's so much more to it.
Okay. So to me, I would listen to this and say, well, everybody should be in a PACE program because I think this sounds really terrific.
Sure.
So let's talk about who's appropriate for this program and who's not appropriate for this program.
Well, there is some eligibility requirements for a PACE model. And the first one is you have to be at least 55 years old.
Okay.
So you have to be 55 or older. And for Mercy Life, you have to reside in our catchment area, which is Hampden and Hampshire counties. So those are kind of the easy ones.
Yeah, I was going to say, so that's easy.
So that's
okay.
easy.
Okay.
The next one is you have to be determined clinically eligible for nursing home level of care. Now, that does not mean that you want to go into a nursing home because, again, the goal of a PACE program is to keep you in your home. What it means is that clinically, medically, you are eligible for that higher level of care. So to be enrolled in a PACE program, you have to be, people are pretty medically complex.
Yeah, you've got to be, you've got to have systems that are compromised.
Right. Okay. It's not for the healthy folks out there.
Okay, all right. Well, and that's good to know because that's right away, that sort of sifts that out.
Right.
So somebody who's more medically involved, maybe several different chronic illnesses or, diseases that they're dealing with, heart condition, maybe they've had a stroke in the past or something like that. Okay.
And that clinical eligibility is determined by one of our nurses who will do an assessment, and they're going to be asking folks about things like activities of daily living. Do they need assistance with things like bathing, dressing, grooming, managing medications? Or they could be asking if folks need help with a skill. For example, does someone have a wound where the bandage needs to be changed and they're unable to do that? Does someone need medication by injection? Perhaps they need insulin, but they're vision impaired and can't manage the EpiPen. Eye drops, or you could potentially qualify with a cognitive deficit. If you have dementia or certain Alzheimer's, you could potentially qualify for this program. And then the last criteria is you will be assessed by the clinical team and determined safe in the community with Mercy Life. So again, a PACE program is geared to keep people out of a nursing facility, but a PACE program does not provide 24-hour care in someone's home. So that's why the interdisciplinary team will assess you prior to enrollment to make sure that we can help you stay at home and manage your health conditions, and that it's safe and appropriate to do so.
That's interesting because I think by using that criteria, it certainly does narrow it down for the staff. I mean, for the PACE staff in terms of trying to figure out who's going to succeed in this program.
Right.
I mean, in a way, it's kind of like, a student applying for college. It's like, the college wants to make sure that they're getting a student who's going to be able to do that. You don't want to bring somebody in and have them fail at it.
Right.
And it's the same thing here. It's like you want to make sure that if you're bringing someone in. So I'm thinking of like the cognitive deficits, sure, but it depends on how advanced this is, because if it's somebody who just clearly can't be on their own.
Right.
Now, what about this? Do you take, are people eligible to participate in a PACE program if they're living with family?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Yep. That in fact, that's an ideal situation. When we have family involvement as part of the care team, it certainly makes things easier to help folks remain at home. But people can live in the community. The only place that we don't enroll from is a nursing facility.
Yeah.
If folks are already in long-term care, then they're past the point of PACE.
Right.
But with that being said, we have had some success stories with current participants that maybe have been in our program, have transitioned to long-term care, but then have come back into the community with the support of Mercy Life. So that's very exciting when that happens.
Now, when the assessment is done, Susan, where is that done in the person's person's home, and of course,
Well-
I know COVID makes things a little bit crazy, or do they come in and is it just the nurse? I mean, I assume they're getting medical records and things like that. So
Yep. So
speak to that a little
the
bit.
assessment pre-COVID would happen in the potential participant's home, and then additional assessments would happen at our facility.
Okay.
Since COVID, a lot of what we do has gone virtual.
Okay.
So the assessments are done via telephone, and folks are first initially assessed by our nurse to determine clinical eligibility.
Yep.
Because if you're not clinically eligible for the program, then
There's no
the
point
buck
going
stops
through the
there.
rest of it. Right.
Right.
Exactly.
But if you are eligible and you are pursuing enrollment, you will then be assessed by part of the clinical team, which would include our social worker, a physical therapist, a recreational therapist, and most likely a home care nurse. And those disciplines, along with the nurse who did the original clinical assessment and the medical records that we've collected from previous physicians and specialists, et cetera, all of that will be taken into consideration, and the interdisciplinary team begins to develop a care plan, which is what we feel will meet the participants' needs to manage their health, their chronic conditions in the community for them, with them.
Okay.
So what happens is once that care plan is developed, our enrollment specialist presents it to the participant and their healthcare proxy or their family or whoever they would like involved.
Yep.
They present that care plan, and for the first month, we refer to it as a sketch because we're still getting to know the participant. So our plan is to get to know them in the first 30 days, but also be ready to provide service to them on day one.
Mm-hmm.
So they know exactly what they're getting or what they're getting into, what their health care plan will be prior to even starting.
Yeah, even kind of walking in the
because
door.
a PACE program is a voluntary program. It is a voluntary medical program, so people can choose to participate or they can choose not to. That's their choice.
Okay. We're gonna stop there. Let's take a little breath. My guest this morning, if you're just joining us, is Susan Bryant. She's the community liaison with Mercy Life, which is a PACE program here in Western Massachusetts. We're going to take a short break. We're going to listen to Jay and the Americans singing This Magic Moment. This is in honor of the birthday of David Copperfield. We will be back.
This magic moment, so different and so new, was like any other, until I kissed you, and then it happened. It took me by surprise, I knew that you felt it too, by the look in your sweeter than a wine, softer than a summer night. Everything I want, I have. Whenever I hold you tight, this magic moment, while your lips are close to mine, will last forever.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield. Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Join us the third Wednesday of every month with Selectman Joe Didi and his take on everything Southwick.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:51. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and my guest this morning is Susan Bryant. She's the community liaison with Mercy Life, which is through Trinity Health of New England. It's a PACE program, so we've talked about the fact that PACE is an all-inclusive care program for the elderly. So, Susan, I want to get into the financial piece of this, but before we do that, can we just do just a brief review of the types of services? I mean, I know you mentioned physical health and medical services, and we've talked a little bit about daycare and some mental health. So, you know, just so that we have a sort of a broad spectrum of what's included here.
Sure. So a PACE program really, like I said earlier, it is 360 degrees of healthcare. It is soup to nuts. So it would include primary care, nursing, specialty care, social services, dietitian, physical therapy, occupational therapy, recreational therapy. We do things our clinic is on site at Mercy Life in West Springfield.
Which, by the way, for most of you who are listening, you'll remember the old Bright Side, because that's the space that they occupy. Yep. So it's quite expansive.
It is. The campus is very large, and the building has been completely renovated. It's quite lovely. So our clinic is located there. So if you are seeing your primary care physician, you would see him on site at Mercy Life. We can do things like blood draws, urinalysis, whatever folks might get in their traditional primary care office happens in our clinic at Mercy Life. We also are, as I mentioned earlier, our adult day health center is located there. And then, you know, depending on what someone needs for specialty care, we have, you know, a podiatrist that comes into our facility. Some folks see their specialists outside of Mercy Life.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a condition that requires specialty care, our interdisciplinary team will review and make the appropriate referral for the care that you might need.
Okay. So given all of that care that's available, let's talk a little bit about finances. So how is this paid for? And I know you mentioned before that you're sort of self-insured.
Yep.
So how does that work?
So for most low-income people, we apply for a home and community-based waiver through Medicaid, which is Mass Health.
Yep.
And that waiver will pay your PACE premium. So for most low-income people who have Medicaid to pay the PACE premium, there's no out-of-pocket cost for any of your prescriptions, any of your durable medical equipment, any specialty care, hospitalizations, etc. There's no out-of-pocket cost.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be eligible for this waiver.
Right.
And for the waiver, there are some financial guidelines. So part of being eligible for this waiver, if we just circle back to the clinical eligibility for this program, to be eligible for a home and community-based waiver, you have to be not only financially eligible, but also clinically eligible.
Right.
So for our purposes, for PACE, we can assume that the person that we're working with has been determined clinically eligible, so we're halfway there. But then we have to look at the financial eligibility for the waiver. And that is your income, your gross monthly income, which is pre-tax dollars, can be as high as $2,349 per month. Now, that figure fluctuates year to year depending on what Medicaid decides as what the federal poverty level is and how that calculation works out. And then the other thing that Mass Health looks at is your assets. So you can have up to $2,000 worth of assets. Now, that does not include the home you live in or one vehicle you might own.
Okay.
And it would not include a life insurance policy that is in contract with a funeral home for your end-of-life wishes.
Right.
What it does include is things like your bank account, your checking, savings, if you have any stocks, bonds, annuities, dividends, investments, those sort of thing. If you have a vacation home in Florida, Mass Health is going to want to know about it. So for the folks that are looking for the waiver to pay the PACE premium, their assets have to be below $2,000. And to be honest with you, the demographic that we're working with are low-income seniors that most often are living in subsidized housing units or perhaps living with family. So more often than not, they qualify for the home and community-based waiver.
Right.
With that being said, applying for Mass Health can be daunting to people and overwhelming. And we understand that, which is why our enrollment specialist will work with the participant every step of the way in applying for this waiver.
And you know what? I also just want to point out to folks that if they go the nursing home route and apply for Mass Health, it's the same thing. I mean, it's it's going through the application process. The reason that Mass Health is doing the waiver is because it's like, okay, well, instead of paying for someone to be in long-term care for presumably ever, we'll do this. We'll pay for this program over here, which will keep them out, hopefully keep them healthier,
right,
which will be hopefully more cost effective for Mass Health. I mean, that's kind of, that's the reality of what we're working with here, folks.
Yep,
so, they're kind of looking at that, but that's why you get the waiver. But now not everybody would need the waiver or qualify for the waiver. So what happens with those people?
So we do have a cost share option, and there's a mathematical calculation that goes along with that. And I don't want to overwhelm anyone
that's
today.
fine. I just want like the brief
the
overview.
numbers, but there is a cost share option, and then there's a private pay option as well. So if folks are over income or over asset for the Mass Health waiver, I would still encourage them to chat with us about the other payment options available.
Okay. And again, no different than a nursing home.
Correct.
I mean, if you had some money and you went into a nursing home, you'd either be private paying. But in this case, it almost sounds like there's a bit of almost like that middle ground is a bit of a sliding fee, kind of depending on
what your income is.
Okay.
And then another thing to know is for married folks, if you are married, traditionally standard Mass Health, both people's income is counted. When you're applying for a home and community-based waiver, the only income and assets that are counted are your own. So for example, let's say mom is pretty medically complex, but dad is pretty healthy.
Yeah.
You can transfer assets between spouses without penalty. So if mom and dad have a bank account together.
That's very interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
If mom and dad have a bank account together that let's say has $10,000 in it, if mom's name remains on that account, she's not going to be eligible for this waiver. But if it's just in dad's name and mom doesn't have any assets anymore, then potentially she could apply for the waiver.
And so there's no 5-year look back or anything on
as of right now
okay.
for a PACE program. It is there is a look back, but it's not 5 years. But again, transferring assets between spouses, there's no penalty for.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So a look back really wouldn't apply in that instance.
Okay. All right. Okay. And do you? I mean, what are your numbers? Like, how many people are we talking about in the PACE program in this area? Do you have any idea?
I do. We're looking at about 300 participants currently.
Okay.
And we are still growing. Even through the pandemic, we have been actively enrolling participants. We've done a lot of our processes have been modified to be safe and make sure that we're appropriately taking safeguards for our employees and staff as well as participants and potential participants. So we're still actively enrolling. We're available to grow.
Perfect.
So we're pleased to be able to do that.
So we need to wrap this up, Season. So how, if people have questions, if they would like more information, if they maybe want to start the process, how do they reach you?
Well, they could call me directly at 413-827-4238, or they could call our direct line at 413-748-7223. We are available Monday through Friday from 8 to 4:30 to answer any questions about the PACE program. But also, if you're enrolled in PACE, there's 24-hour service available in the event that you need care after hours or something happens that you need to talk to a nurse. We're available 24/7.
Right. And I think that, obviously, as with anything else, if you're computer savvy, you can certainly go onto the internet.
Sure.
I know there's going to be a website. There's got to be a website, with more information as
you
well.
could visit us at www.mymercylife.com, or you could also visit our Facebook page.
Yeah. So there you go. My guest this morning has been Season Bryan, Community Liaison with Mercy Life, which is a PACE program here in Western Massachusetts. Season, thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this really started because Season would have been at our senior options event back in the spring. We were talking about the fact that we had to cancel that altogether this year. We had postponed it until this month, and clearly that wasn't going to happen. But this was a great opportunity for you to come in and share some information.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank you for doing that. Again, if you would like more information, contact Season over at Mercy Life. That's it, folks. Stay physically distant but socially connected, and we will see you next week.
Tell me, baby girl, 'cause I need I need to know. Tell me, baby girl, 'cause I need to know. I need to know. I need to know. Tell me, baby girl, 'cause I need to know.